Hello, Hana the Suburban Witch here, and today I'm going to run you through the red flags to look for in spiritual practitioners. Now, I am not talking about the Instagram scammer that pops into your DMs. I'm talking about the real, seemingly legit people that you book for psychic, medium, tarot, astrology readings, all of that. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Hana the Suburban Witch. I'm a professional tarot reader and astrologer, and I teach all about how to connect in with your psychic abilities, how to do tarot reading, astrology, all that jazz. If you want to know more, I have a course. You can find it on my website, linked below, of course. I'm also the host of the Witch Talks podcast, where I talk with amazing witches from all over the globe about their practice, and every single episode has something to teach you. I absolutely guarantee it. Okay. Red flag number 1, energy vampires. Every single industry, every single part of life will have someone like this. Not all energy vampires are aware of what they're doing, but they exist. So of course they exist in this space as well. Unfortunately, if you book in with someone who is an energy vampire, it's going to really affect how you feel when you walk out of there, even potentially during the reading as well. Doesn't matter if you are doing it over the internet or if you're doing it live in person. What you're likely to feel if you encounter someone like this, like they might be super nice. You might really, really like them, but you walk away and you feel drained or tired. Worse, you feel like you need to cleanse yourself. That is a huge red flag. That is something you really, really, really need to look out for, and do not go back to that reader again. Now, if it's someone you've had readings with before and you've walked out feeling fine, all dandy, all good, and then you go back to them and then you feel like that, perhaps you're having an off day or they're having an off day. But if it's really like, oh, I feel like I need to cleanse myself, I have a headache, I feel tired, and you walk out of there feeling quite low, I'd be saying look into it further. Maybe look them up, see if there's any reviews and if anyone else has felt the same, or talk to other people that have had a reading with them. If you're getting a lot of people that have that same experience, that person is just basically sucking energy from you. They can do this in a number of ways: psychically, energetically, right, in the energy space, purposely or not. Or sometimes they can do this with red flag number 2. Number 2, trauma dumping. If you go and pay for a reading and that person starts dumping their stuff onto you, either you cut the reading short or you ask for your money back, because that is not okay. You don't pay someone for them to use you as a therapist. That is not how it works. Now, sometimes as a reader, personally, myself, I may use an example from my own life, but it is never in a way that places that onto someone, and it is always in a way that I've already worked through it, right? I'm on the other side. I'm not still currently going through it. An example of this may be a client has come to me and I see an area where they need to sever an energetic cord, do a cord cutting. And maybe I say, look, when I did this last, I found it really difficult because that person was so close to me, or a family member, or whatever it was, right? So I can totally understand how you might feel about this, but I assure you, you're going to come out of the other end feeling really, really good. This is how you do it safely. I see you're scared about X, Y, and Z. When I did it, this is how I felt too. And so I did X, Y, and Z to help me through that. That's what I'm recommending for you as well, right? Because it's a very emotional experience. That's kind of how my readings flow, right? When I'm with someone, I might use myself as an example, but I'm not going, oh my God, I have to do an energy, cord cutting on this person because they did this to me and they did this to me. And oh my gosh, and I felt like this. It is not a gossip session. It is a teaching moment, right? This is the difference. So you need to be wary of people that are going to be dumping onto you, because that is a form of energy vampirism, right? Extracting that sympathy from you, that energy from you, but it is also just not okay, right? And this goes for all relationships really, but particularly the professional ones. You wouldn't see a therapist and have them talk about all of their issues to you, right? That's just not how it works. So you need to be as careful and as discerning as you are with choosing psychologists as you are with choosing your spiritual practitioners. Red flag number 3, upselling. Now, every business will try and upsell, right? Well, should try and upsell. That's okay, to a point. I'm going to give you 2 examples, right? Let's say you come to me for a reading and I tell you that there's some really negative energy around you and you're not going to be able to get rid of this yourself. You need a professional to do it. I obviously have a very thorough understanding of what's going on for you. If you pay me an extra $3,000, I will set up a monthly call with you, a mentor plan, and we'll work on this together, and I'll remove those curses and those hexes that have been placed over you. If you don't do this, things are going to go really, really bad for you. You're going to get sick. You're going to lose this. You're going to lose your house, all of those things. You've got to do this. Otherwise, you're going to be in a tough rut. I can't even put on the voice that they would probably use. I just can't. That's so bad. People do this to people. That is not a business upsell, right? That is not a small business being like, hey, I have another offering that you might be interested in. For me, if I have a client that's going through something, firstly, I'm going to teach them how to deal with it themselves and let them leave feeling empowered. Secondly, if it's something that I'm not equipped to deal with, right? This is obviously affecting you mentally or physically or that sort of a thing. I recommend you do this, this, and this. Potentially go and see your doctor or your psychologist, refer them to a licensed professional to deal with those topics. That is not me, and I'm not going to take that money, right? Or even if it's a witchy thing, I might say, hey, I know of people that do that. I don't do it. I don't have the experience, but I can recommend you look in these places, or I've heard of these people if you wanted to look towards them, rather than trying to be like, I'm your only savior. No, I'm not. I'm a person. Everyone's a person. No one can do everything. And when it comes to an upsell, it might be something like, hey, we've been doing a couple of tarot readings. Is it something you're interested in learning? Because I have a class on that if you really wanted to dive into it, so you don't have to pay me to do it. You're totally capable, but you also might not want to. But it's there if you like, right? Directing people to another service is not the same as saying, if you don't take me up on this offer, your whole family's going to fall ill and you're going to lose your house. And you can see the difference. Red flag number 3 is exactly what we just talked about. And this is the doom and gloom readings. These are the people that tell you all sorts of horrible stuff, right? Without naming names, I heard of some people that went to see a particular reader who did a lot of these red flags, but one of them was saying that their pet, so telling the client that their pet had passed away because of them, because it absorbed a negative spell that was sent their way. Another thing that was said was that an evil warlock was going to come and get them and kill them, and they needed to shut down their business. I cannot tell you how angry this made me, because anger shows us where there's been an injustice, generally, the good side of anger, where there's been injustice. And this is so incredibly wrong, unfair. I'd even say evil. If you go to a reader who says anything along those lines, run for the hills. Get your money back if you can, and do not go back to them. Leave a review about your experience. I had a reading with a different reader and I wasn't happy with it. It was $300 US and it arrived just written, typed into an email. And whilst it was long, it didn't resonate. It was a bit out there and strange, and I didn't get anything from it, right? If anything, the stuff that they had brought up, I could clearly see where they had put my name into Instagram, gone onto my linked art account, and then used that to be like, oh, your art is this. And they worded it in a way that was like, I'm receiving this divine intelligence. Now, at this point, I hadn't painted in years. I hadn't been doing my art. I was on a totally different thing. That art was a form of art therapy for me with postnatal depression. So I was like, what is she on about? There was how did she know about the art stuff? But then it was like, that's so irrelevant. And then I realized, I was like, I think she's literally Googled my name, found my Instagram, my personal Instagram account, and gone through there. That's wild. Of course, I pretty quickly put that account on private, but it was not sitting right with me. But I didn't leave a review because I thought, just because I had a bad vibe with it doesn't mean that what they're doing is necessarily wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about it. And I left it. And it stuck with me, and it stuck with me for so long, and I kept feeling like, nah, finally. And I even responded as well to her and said, can you elaborate on this, because it doesn't make sense. Anyway, I went to their Facebook page, finally. I don't know why I hadn't done this earlier. There was only one review. It was 1 star, and it was someone saying that their reading had almost caused them to attempt suicide because of what was said in it. And I saw that and I went, oh, this is one of those people. I don't know what she said to that person, but if anyone's saying things like, stop taking your medication, or the things that are around you are negative, or, what's happened to you is your fault, all of those things. No. So I thought it was my duty. I left a negative review as well. I added to that because we need to talk about these things to help protect others. And I really advise you to go and read reviews. Most people, when they deal with a person for a reading, like a spiritual reading, they don't want to leave a negative review, right? When we have a product from big business, the first thing you're going to do is go and write a review and write all over Facebook about it. But when it's a person, we feel guilty. Like, I don't want to harm their business. This is how they feed their kids, right? We get into our feels about it. You need to put your big girl, big boy pants on, big person pants on, and go and leave a negative review if you felt like that, okay? Because it's not okay, and we need to have these measures in place. And if we don't write those reviews, people are going to get scammed again. Not that it's always a definite scam, but sometimes it's people who are mentally unwell and shouldn't be doing readings. And saying that, one of the green flags is when you go to someone's, not just their website, because website you can type up testimonials if you really wanted, go to their Google reviews page, go to their Facebook reviews page, because they can't fake those, right? Read through them. How do people say they felt afterwards? That's a big thing. Like, I left feeling amazing, felt like I was walking on a cloud, it cleared the air so much. Those are good things to look for. That's what you want, okay? People that say they have bought multiple things, or they've left a couple of reviews, like, I keep coming back, time and time again. These are good flags, green flags, right? If it's a new reader and they don't have any reviews yet, probably their prices are going to be a little bit lower. So you kind of, take that. But I also recommend that you leave a good review if you feel good about it afterwards, right? We're all helping each other here. Red flag number 5. Are we up to 5? Maybe 4. The next red flag is, again, I keep they all kind of weave into each other because these people are all like doing the same stuff. Anyone that tells you to go off medication, stop seeing a doctor, that your illnesses are caused by your thought patterns. No, absolutely not. Run for the hills. That is dangerous. That can endanger people's lives. Just no, absolutely not. And lastly, this is a bugbear of mine. People that expect you to come back time and time again quite frequently, or allow you to. So this one's like an orange flag, right? If they're pressuring you, like, you need to come back to me next month for this follow-up, you don't have to. You never have to feel into that, right? If it's an issue that you feel you've just scraped the surface and they really helped you with that and you can get a bit deeper, go for it. But if it's just like, they're trying to get this repeat business out of you, no. The other orange flag is if they don't put boundaries with you. I think an ethical reader, and I consider myself an ethical reader, I have it in my code of ethics on my website, which, if you're seeing someone, check their website. Do they have a code of ethics? In that, I state that I am not a medical practitioner. I am not going to give you legal advice. I am not going to give you medical advice, right? That is not my area of expertise. I also put in there that I refuse to read for people within a 3-month time frame. So if you book, and I've done this, if you book with me, for example, and we have a reading about your relationship, and then I see another booking 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks later, I refund you and I email you and I say, hey, we've already covered these topics. I recommend you give a little bit of extra time before coming back. Because I've found in my experience, before I had my own business, when I used to work for a psychic reading group, that those people would come weekly sometimes, every 2 weeks, asking the same questions, not listening to the answers, going to different readers until they got the answer they wanted. My camera battery died, so I don't know where I was up to. Here we are, the marvels of technology. When I worked for a psychic reading group, we would have people come back week after week, month after month, asking the same questions. And we would read for them because we had to. We were told we had to, right? But they weren't taking on the advice, and they would often bounce around from reader to reader trying to get the answer that they wanted and not listening to what spirit was bringing through. That's not okay. It's not an okay use of the reader and their time and expertise, but it's also not helping the client. And I'm not about taking people's money if it's not going to help them. So if they don't respect that boundary, then they're not my client. That's as simple as it is. I'm very thankful that I've only had to do that once or twice, and they understood where I was coming from when they got there. They just really, really, really wanted something to happen, but getting a reading won't make something happen. You have to make something happen, right? The tarot, like Teresa Reed, the tarot lady says, the tarot tells a story, you write the ending. So it gives us a likely outcome, but with all of my readings, I give this is the likely outcome. This is how you can enhance that outcome if you want it. If that's not an outcome we want, this is what we do to change that. I give you empowerment and steps and physical things that you can actually do to get to the goal that you really want. And I help you figure out what that goal really is. Unethical readers don't care about that. They don't actually care about the client. They care about the money coming in or telling them what they want to hear. Next red flag, being told everything you want to hear. Sometimes you will have a reading like, this sounds great, everything's going well, awesome, great. They do happen. But if there's nothing in there that challenges you or makes you consider something, why are you getting it, right? Sometimes it'll be validation, like, oh yes, I knew that was the right choice to make, and that's excellent. Tarot can be fantastic for that. But if it's just kind of like, oh yeah, you're going to get all these things that oh yes, no, it's all going. Life doesn't really work that way. So I feel a little bit funny about those sorts of readings as well. Again, it might be something that you go back to them and realize they're just telling you everything you want to hear, and you go, okay, they're one of those, right? Or maybe they're sugarcoating, or maybe they don't want to deliver the difficult stuff, okay? There is a balance here between the doom and gloom and the toxic positivity. You got to find that middle ground. Not every reader can walk it, but you got to find the ones that can. Last red flags, and these are to do with the actual types of reading, because predominantly I've talked about tarot at the moment. I guess you can absolutely sub in just a psychic reading, intuitive reading, that sort of a thing. But when we talk about mediumship readings and astrology, there's two differences here. If you see a medium and your loved one has recently passed within the past 6 weeks to 3 months, and they take your money and do a reading for you, no. An ethical reader, an ethical medium, will allow time from the time of death to the time of the first reading, at least 6 weeks at the absolute minimum. Personally, I would say 3 months. The reason for this is the spirit on the other side has shit they need to deal with. They need to get accustomed to where they are, right? But you need to grieve, and it will not help you in your grief to do that. It is going to be a hindrance. So we need to wait that time. That is for the client. And then they only come if they need closure on something, and I would not be doing repeat readings 6 months to a year at the absolute most. There should not be a reason for repeat mediumship readings like that, particularly with, I'm seeking one specific spirit. That person, if they are doing that, yes, they're grieving. It's a way of grieving, and we need to ethically move them into how we can help you through your grief rather than trying to bring that person through continually. The first time is usually just proof that they are still there. There might be a message, there might be some guidance or some answers. But after that, you don't want your readings to become a crutch for somebody. When it comes to astrology, there are so many different types of astrology, okay? So I cannot speak for all readers. But again, a similar thing. If you're getting the doom and gloom, not great, okay? You don't want that. If you're getting people that tell you you have no choice in how your fate is, in how you are, don't like that either. Astrology, like all other divination forms, are a tool of empowerment. They say, this is your blueprint. If you align with this, life may flow easier. But it's not strict, right? Your blueprint doesn't say you must be a teacher, right? You must be a school teacher and that is the only thing you can do. Absolutely not. But it might say you are here to spread knowledge. And that can look different for everyone, okay? And then we look at other parts of the chart. We look at the transits that have recently happened that may bring you to a new stage in your life where a shift is needed. You're still doing that crux thing of like getting knowledge out there, but in a wildly different way. So if anyone narrows you down with astrology too much and gives you not a lot of wiggle room, that's for me a red flag, because life, again, is not like that. I feel like this has been a very serious video today, yet necessary. Please let me know any red flags that I've missed in the comments below. I forgot one. Exorbitant prices. Whilst there is a place for that, thousands of dollars for a reading, no. Have a look as well at what people offer. All of their prices are super high. Not only do they price out an entire group of people, but it's not accessible for a lot of people, and there's something about that irks me. I know I'm not everyone, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. This might be just an orange flag or a personal thing. But if they've got readings for like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, they're catering to a very different crowd, but it's also, I don't know, something about it just sits funny. If you've ever had a look at my website, my readings, if it's an hour-long reading, that's my most expensive offer, and that's $200 Australian. If you're in the US, that goes down considerably with the exchange rate. But that is not the only way to get access to me, my knowledge on my readings. And you can get a live, face-to-face reading. The only difference is it's in a group setting and it's just one question. But you get a lot out of that, right? So it's still accessible for a much lower amount. I want it to be accessible for people. I also provide a shit ton of free content, right? I make sure that there's something for everyone, and I do provide discounts every now and then just to open up that access as well. Keep an eye out around my birthday particularly. That's important to me. I know other practitioners who offer sliding scale, for example. There are different ways that people make sure that they're not pricing people out, and that their skills and their service is available for those who need it when they need it. I also respond to DMs, every single DM that I get, with personal, like me, hello, like here, this is what I recommend, right? I'm not hoarding my services, but I'm also valuing my services in the way that I've priced myself. Does that make sense? I don't know what inflation's going to be like in the future. This video will probably be up forever, so this is like what, 11th of the 11th, 2022. So lastly, use your intuition. You all have it. We all have it. Trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right, it's not right, okay? It might be subtle, but if you go to sit down with someone or jump on a call with someone and you feel, I really don't want to do this, don't do it. You don't have to, okay? So I hope this helps some of you. Please send it to anyone that you think may be vulnerable to this style of practitioner, because unfortunately they do prey on people, right? And it's horrible, but it's necessary that we get this out there, because the realm of psychic, tarot, mediumship, it already is rife with people thinking we're all scammers, right? But we're not, but some are, and they give the rest of us a bad name. So do your bit. I'm doing my bit to help educate as well. And I really, really hope that this gets to someone who needs to see it and prevents harm from occurring. If you enjoyed this video, please share, like, subscribe. Anything you do like that really, really helps. All appropriate links in the box below, and I will chat to you next time.